Hey, welcome. I just want to make a quick question. Can you hear me? Can you see me? And I'm asking this because I changed my setup. I'm running through a lot of different scenarios here, and I just want to make sure. Can hear you and see you. Amazing. Thank you so much for answering that. Well, since this is Global Hack Week, Beginners Week, let me introduce myself first. My name is Alberto. I'm your Major League Hacking coach from the great country of Mexico. So it's blurry. Okay, audio and video good. Okay, well, thank you so much. Thanks for being so active here at the comments. I see some questions, and I'll be answering them in a second. Just I'll let me finish with the introductions, right? Um, yes. For those who know me, because I just see some familiar names here at the comments, you probably see the background is changing. Even my haircut is changing a little bit. Um, a lot of things changed since the past Global Hack Week. I want to share it with you because, well, you're my friends. I really love to share these things with you. And oh, Juanpa, Joe, Alberto. Now I'm nervous. Okay, well, yes, a lot of things change. I moved. I recently graduated. I am doing a lot of things. Another big change I'm making for those who see my streams and know which browser I use. I used to love Mozilla a lot. I still love Mozilla a lot, but Firefox for me stopped work as suddenly. I don't know why. I don't know what happened, but I needed to change my browser, and I choose Vivaldi, which right now I'm kind of loving it. Um, a lot of the Vivaldi features are amazing, but I just kind of find it a kind of experimental in some other features. For example, I wasn't sure if the StreamYard, which is the software we use at the Melee Hacking for giving these streams, was going to work well. So that's why I wanted to make sure that these were going to be like a stable stream. Also, right now, I mentioned again, I'm trying a new um, office setup. So the internet connection in the morning for me it was kind of unstable. I tried to change my router configurations and stuff. I think right now it's kind of stable. So we can continue right now. We could have a whole stream talking about best browsers. Yeah, I kind of agree a lot. And why not Chrome? Because it's like Vivaldi, it's Chromium based, I think. But there's like this huge difference in matter of privacy for me that it matters a lot. So I think okay, we have many questions here. So let me just start answering in the comment section. And well, some of these are highs and hellos. You see, I'm like now clicking at the comments, and these should, yeah, like this pop the comments, but it's kind of having a delay. I don't know if it's due to my internet connection, it's due to my new browser, it's due to Streamlit just being weird. I don't know. I don't know. I'm sorry for that. I usually also start with countdown from 30 seconds. I tried to click it, but it didn't work. So it's weird. I'll go into the book if it's my fault or if it's just StreamYard being silly. Hello, everyone. Hi. Hello, I thought we start at 3. It's it cancel. Oh, we give like a 5 minutes buffer time so you can pause the ad wall on Twitch if you just want to um, how to say it, click or enter the video at the time we schedule it. You have time in this buffer time. Um, Taking the session against my time zone, I will suggest just have a lot of curiosity intact, everyone. You're gonna make it one day. Okay, yeah, I agree a lot. Thanks for the comment. Also, we all encourage you to take a lot of sessions because you get to learn a lot, but we also encourage you to sleep well. So don't worry, you can always find the recordings of these streams and yeah, it's GHW .mlh.io, where it's the all information from the global hack weeks, and you can watch a recording. So don't worry. If it's really not a good time for you, I strongly suggest go ahead, have a good sleep, and then come back and watch the recap for the video. If you have any question, right now you can drop it here at the comments, and if you don't but you get one during the session if you watch it on the recordings, there is the Discord, and in Discord you can always ask anything. I think in the instructions you cannot tag me directly, but you can find a way to tag active emulators. I think that's the name we have for that, and you will see replies, if not even from me, from other mainly hacking community or other of the hackers around, right? So great resources there, the Discord and the Global Hack Week page. Hello. Taking these 4 consecutively. Okay, great. So you have a great start because I think this is day 1, right? Just let me check. Yeah, this is day 1, and actually this is the 4th session. So you have taken all. So that's great. Yes, can hear you and see you. It's blurry for me. Okay, it's kind of blurry. Okay, yeah, it doesn't matter if I am kind of blurry. Um, Me, it's not the important thing, but you can hear me, right? I just hope that works better with the screen sharing. Audio and video good. Hey, 404, nice to have you here. Clara K says hi. What else? To no, going como says hacking. Yeah, okay. I got the low resolution. Sorry about that. Yeah, so I'll do my best to fix the internet because I do think it's my fault that this is kind of blurry. Uh, Juanpa Flores is on the house. People want PvP quality. Yeah, sorry, sorry about the video quality. Yeah, I'll do my best to try to fix this for the next session, which I have on Monday. So we start with this. We will have a whole stream talking about the best browsers. I do agree. Just your suggestions here. Um, I see a comment here about Firefox, then Arc, then everything else. The thing about what prevent me from moving to was I understand that this is deprecated now, right? Or I'm not getting it. But I do my research and I found like Arc it's now deprecated. I mean, like it works now, but it won't work in the future. So I won't want to move to another browser in the future. Um, Maybe I'm lying. Maybe I just like found that information online and wasn't true at all. But that's what I researched. And yeah, Vivaldi, it's working beautiful right now. I love the workspaces. I love how you can customize it. I love a lot of things about Vivaldi. So I don't think the delay I have right now with hey, yeah, I'm back. So good news. I'm kind of figuring out that the problem, yes, it's my internet connection. That's on me. Um, I'm so sorry about that. And this is not that beginners, but I was trying to debug the internet issue I have because you will see my internet or my Wi-Fi status connection says I have the three levels of connectivity. Um, Else, uh, internet doesn't work. And I tried a speed test run, and I am like having less than 1 megabyte of speed. Um, what's happening here is that my router is not using the correct channel, and I'm trying to play it with the bandwidth configuration, and I have managed to have like a stable connection here at the office. But if this happened again and I'm kicked out of the stream, I am going to move. I'm going to take my laptop and I'm going to be like sitting next to the router, uh, where I'm pretty sure the internet works. I just ordered like a mesh Wi-Fi system for solving that. I didn't know that in advance because again, this is my first time like working in the office since I moved. So I'm terribly sorry for the internet connection. What's the upload stream? Still, the upload stream it's too low. I think it was like I had screenshot of that. Well, it was less than 3 megabytes, I think. So yeah, I will fix that. I am I'm terribly sorry for the internet connection. But again, I'm sure that if I sit next to the router, that will be everything I need. Why I'm not doing that? Because I have no sofa yet or anywhere to sit. So that will be just me in the floor. Don't worry, Albert. Okay, thank you so much for being so comprehensive. And what's we're going to be the session? Yeah, let's start with the session and then not just me talking. Uh, well, I'm going to start sharing my screen. Give me a second for doing that. Tu, tu, tu. And here we are. Oh, it was open here. Okay, give me a second. And you will see. Storage square. Oh my god. Uh, yeah, I need to give permission, but I'm okay. I need to quit or reopen, so that will be again one more second, and I'll be back. Sorry. Hey, well, we're back again, right? Um, it was a matter of permissions, and I need to quit Vivaldi and open it again. Again, I'm sorry. And well, now it's time to share the screen to the screen one and share. And here we are. So, understanding Python environments, part one. And I am going to tell you why I choose. Oh my god, I forgot to rename the. Okay, well, I'll change it in a second. Okay, I will tell you why I choose to give this session and what's the intention. Remember, this is beginner's week. So, one of the things or the earliest mistakes I recognize when I'm in a it's hackers telling me like they think the code lives inside, for example, the IDE being Visual Studio or JetBrains IDEs or whatever, right? Um, or even in other environments like Google Colab, uh, which I think it's not that bad when you're understanding how to program and well, the syntax and cycle loops or the basics. But if you keep with that mindset at the future, that can be a problem, right? So I remember one time I was talking with these. It was not like CS student. It was more like a business student, and he was telling me like I enter up this hackathon because one of our teachers taught us how to program, like in Google Colab, and he told me like he was like with the mind blow of having things like the IDs, right? Uh, Even more, the idea of an IDE in Visual Studio, which is completely wrong. Visual Studio code, it's not an IDE. Visual Studio, it's an IDE. Visual Studio code, it's just a text editor, right? And all of these are interfaces for us accessing the code. But there are many other things that are needed in order to have, for example, in this specific case, Python working. And I make it this specifically for Python because I think it's the perfect language to try to explain these separate of concerns, these separation of responsibilities in building software. Well, yeah, in building software, just in general, right? Uh, no, no, I didn't say Python was the best. I just said that for this specific idea or this specific purpose, Python it's a great example, right? But of course, I'm going to mention JavaScript about that. Well, the point is still that I wanted to give you these sessions. This is part one, and we're going to have a part two on Monday. You said it. I'm going to finally got to agree that after 4 years. Hey, no, yes, here. Well, we will be talking about yes. Where to check for the session? Hey, you just remind me of that. Thank you so much. I have the links around here. Hey, and here it is. Thanks for the reminder about the checking. Don't forget to check in for the session. Um, and I'll be adding this to the comments once it's okay here. It needed to finish uploading. Well, yeah, the intention was to give you the opportunity to, well, not the opportunity, I mean the resources to learn what's the difference, and that not the IDE or the text editor or the in general environment you're in runs magically the code. There are things that are needed to execute the code, right? So that's the intention. Anyone, please help with the schedule for the event. Well, I shared the check-in link, and you can find more information not for the session, but for entirely all Global Hack Week here with the resource 404 shirt, which is ghw.mlh.io/schedule, right? So let's continue. The goal of this session, the part one, by the end, you will be able to explain what you need to run Python. Again, Python specifically this time, but I encourage you to take the same not only for Python, but for your favorite programming language. And in example, for JavaScript, right? So, and distinguish between what's the interpreter, the environment, and in general the project, right? So I know this is beginners and this should be basic, but it's not fully basic. That's my disclosure here, right? So for this, you need to be familiar and you need to already know how to program or how to write a basic script. Let's call it again in Python, in Bash, in C, in Java, in JavaScript, whatever you want. But the idea here is that you already focus and you already know how to run and how to create simple scripts. script. It's not necessary for you to know how to create or do like complex stuff. I don't know, a full application or even yeah, more complicated stuff, right? The point here is that you already take step one. This will be like step two, three, depend of your career part. Here, you are going to learn what's an interpreter, what's an environment. Again, how you apply that to the whole project. Create and manage isolated Python environments. And this is going to be the specific part of it. Uh, for example, in JavaScript, for you that come from JavaScript, if you already program something there, you will know that this is not something you have to worry about at all, because the isolation that npm provides, it's just great using the tool. And probably you even didn't notice that, right? That you have a node um, node module folders with all the required information or all the required packages, libraries, and everything that your project needs to run, right? Now, in comparison, Python doesn't do that automatically. Of course, it does that, but you have to do it kind of more manually, right? So I'm going to make short stops just to see the comments and try to answer if you have any question. I love Python. This is my second programming language. Which one is the first one? Is this session 1 hour long or two? This is going to be 2 hour longs. No UV package manager. What do you mean with no UV package manager? 1 hour? No, no, this is 2 hours. No problem. I don't think so. As much as I love Rust, PIP, it's still a lot more widespread. Yeah. Again, so you mentioned it for example, that it depends on the language you use. You have to do many things differently, but the core idea behind it, like having the interpreter or the language learner and some manager for the packages, for the environments, or for the other, between quotes, external pieces of software that you need, are two separate things, right? Here we can use BNB, for example, virtual environment, Conda, or poetry, for example. And these are just examples. One other great idea that you can have, it's if you have used Colab, right? Google Colab. And I run Jupyter Notebooks directly here on my computer, which I prefer, since fortunately I have a strong computer with processing power. So I do not require to use Colab. Colab, it's a great idea and a great tool when you don't have access to powerful hardware. So you need to ask to Google to lend you some of that um, computational power, right? So let's continue. Uh, and again, just to focus and outline why this matters. The first one, it's reproducibility. Uh, Not only between, for example, collaboration with other persons, but again, we're beginners. So position on that. Not only because you probably have problems when you run and install and yeah, run and install or try to move from one project to your next project, between version compatibility, for example. This reproducibility, or this first why this matter bullet point, it's really very interlinked with the second one, which is isolation, right? You can have small boxes where you put all the things required to run again Python or any other language in these small boxes. One common thing we do as developers when we start learning new languages or learning new things, it's just to install them globally, right? Or just have them wide across all our computer, which when you start growing as a developer, you start realizing it's not that good as a practice, right? So you look for these two, be really, really important, which is you can have isolation of maybe you just want three packages or three. Let's not talk about packages yet. Three programs in this folder, and you have six other in this other folder, and you want them to work no matter what every time you're in that folder or you're in that project. When you have things globally in your computer, again, not only for collaboration, which is the next step, in your computer you can have different versions or different cases where you can use one or another. And the reproducibility and the isolation part are really important for this. Then, next, we continue to the collaboration, not only in your computer, but you are experienced enough to start collaborating with other hackers. So you already learned Git, right? And then you use Git and GitHub to collaborate, and you say things like, "Oh, it worked in my computer. I don't know why." But with the right isolation, the right reproducibility in your computer, you can take it to collaborate to the next computer you want, right, with your partners in a hackathon, for example. Portability, for example, it's also great, and for example, for me, which I have worked with many computers, it's great to have not only a easy way to say, okay, I can work with this computer or with this other one. It doesn't matter if I'm in work or in the school, for example, or in a personal laptop or something like that. You can move between devices really, really simple, right? We have a question here just coming in. What's up for the past minutes? I have to catch up. Don't worry, you can catch up if you watch the recap. Sorry, the recording, and the recording will be available at the end of the session if you want to watch it. But I don't think it's worth it because you're just in time. We are explaining why the understanding Python environments it matters. I just explained why I give this session and why I think it's important, what we are going to see. And yeah, the other like first 15 minutes was just me getting used to this new setup and starting the session. So let's continue. I add an analogy, right? Every recipe or every project needs its own ingredients, which are the packages and its own tools. For example, if you want to bake a cake, you probably need an oven, right? Which are the Python versions, if you want to see it that way. I usually love the cooking analogies because they do make a lot of sense. Or I don't know. For me, it makes a lot of sense since I'm into the kitchen, right? Maybe someone who hasn't cooked anything will tell me like it doesn't make any sense. But I think it's like a global common thing since we are in the global hack week that you can cook something. I don't know, even just fry an eggs or something like that. But you will see it will make a lot of sense. So, what's needed to run Python? This is the question I want to start with. You probably are not sure if you come from collab, let's say, like this other guy I was talking about, because you say like, I don't know, like I just open the notebook, I start writing Python scripts, and I run it, and collab manages everything else. If you come from a more like formal education, you will see that you probably need to install Python, right? Not all systems come with Python installed. I think Linux systems do come with Python, but for example, if you have Windows, if you have Mac, even they don't. And also, if you are in Linux, this is not beginner. I mean, you're not a beginner. I don't know any beginner who tries Linux, but yeah. Um, so you either install Python manually, or you either use call up and you didn't do anything. You just click or hit run, and that's it, right? Well, we need a Python interpreter, which is the one that it's the the one in charge to read the Python files. And actually, the interpreter word, it's really um, feed forward, because it interprets what we write in a very natural language to the ones and zeros, right? To something the computer can understand, to an executable, right? And I introduced two terms here. The first one is natural language. And what I mean with natural language, it's just words, right? And one of the main advantages um, of using Python as your programming language, it's that you're basically writing English, right? Uh, and you know what I'm talking about. And same with JavaScript, I have to say it. Don't hate these high programming languages. In these two, you're basically writing English. If you have tried things like more low level, I don't know, C, Lua, or things like that, you probably are used to dealing with reserved words that you just say like, what? What is that? That's not even English. More if you're like English native speaker, right? For me, it isn't, right? I'm Spanish native speaker. I learn English, and then I get to learn like Python, JavaScript, Lua, Rust, other languages, right? Not only for speaking with other humans, but for speaking with computers. The interpreter does the same. So imagine that you're just a Spanish speaker, but you don't know English, and you will need that interpreter to say to the English speaking person what you try to achieve, right? And that's the same. Since we all know English, I hope we all do. Since we all know English, we know how to speak to the computer thanks to the interpreter. Else, we'll need to learn the same language the computer speaks, which are bytecode, zeros and ones. That's it. That's what computer speaks. You can learn it. Of course, you can learn it. Uh, but the question will be, can you be as fluent in bytecode as you are in English? Again, you probably can be, but you will require a lot of years of studying it and writing it and making sure it replies or behaves like as you expect, right? Well, in terms of that, the most efficient way it's just to have an interpreter to change your words in speaking in English to bytecode, right? So Again, what I mean with high level languages against low level languages, it's the ones that are more close to being just English and the ones that are more close to be just bytecode, right? There are intermediate levels. There are things that are not that um, bytecode. For example, are an hex, hexadecimal, um, or directly right now the bicolors, right? Which they don't even care for writing that in matter of structural code or structural Python. They just give a prompt and they receive a program, right? Um, does it make sense to ask for a Python code if you're already giving, yeah, you giving instructions in English sense? The answer will be no. But hey, the great thing with the LLMs are that they can translate not only for bytecode but for directly Python or JavaScript or any other language you want. Are those interpreters? Well, somehow they are, but not the same interpreters we are referring here in these what you need to run Python. So I hope that makes sense. If you have any question, just let me know here in the comments. I try to explain it as best as I could, but in general terms, that's it. Your interpreter is the one responsible for making the translation from Python files to things the computer can understand. And in this point, there's another thing I want to add. There is a big difference between an interpreter and a compiler, and that's for the language. There are languages that needs to be compiled, and there are others that are interpreted. So what's the difference between these two? A compiled language doesn't even run one single line if the file is not right, if it's not accurate. This happens, for example, with C or C++ or C Sharp. That where you can see, like, when you try to run, it doesn't run until you fix the whole thing. And in JavaScript and in Python, there are again high language. Yeah, there are high languages. They do run line by line by line by line until the interpreter finds one error, and then the whole thing collapses and it throws you the error, right? But for example, if you write one print, then for example, follow this: A plus B equals C, or sorry, C equals A plus B, right? But you didn't define A and you didn't define B, the compiled languages are going to give you the error even before running everything, even before the print statement, right? Now, thanks to Python being an interpreter and not a compiled language, you can see the output of the print because it was executed, it was run by the computer, and then you will receive the error. That's it. That's the other difference I wanted to introduce here. For you, if you don't come or you're not trying to apply these for Python, that's fine. I mean, there are languages that are compiled and there are other languages that are interpreted. But the main idea here is that both of them, the work or the things that they do, it's just putting in words that the computer can understand. Blink, there are no words. There are ones and zeros. The things or your words that you put in your file. That's it. Then, libraries. Why libraries? And there's this important other word, standard. Because the packages are the same. There are libraries, right? That's the third point. But the libraries are the pre-bundled pieces of software that you need to use for with your programming language, right? What power will have Python if you have to work or do or create everything that you want from zero? It will be powerful. I won't tell you that it won't, but it will be short power, right? Really, really less than the one we currently have. And we're talking and we're entering the world of open source and things like that. But hey, again, this is beginners, so don't you worry. You have standard libraries. For example, again, in Python, you have the math one and the aus one. I think the aus one is the one that it's really, really, really important because you can access things in your computer. You can access like file creation, file reading, folder directories, and etc. Thanks to this library. So that's important, and that's why it comes with the pre-built or standard libraries, right? Another one I included here is the mathematical one because to perform serious mathematics, we needed something, right? We need some library that help us create sinus, right? Some elevation, some power, for example. But then we realized, like, yeah, okay, the math one, it's not that good. So we invented things like NumPy, right? Or SciPy, or Matplotlib, or Seaborn, or things like we really do science and mathematics with that. And that's not the standard library. That led us to the third-party packages. Again, imagine creating all of these from zero. And again, you can do it. It's possible. Same as the learning how to do bytecode, right? It's just zeros and ones, zeros and one. Imagine you typing just zeros and one to create a print statement. How hard could that be? It's really hard. Well, the same standard libraries and party packages. Sorry, it's really important thing for us to create our Python application or Python scripts. Uh, so they are optional, but they are common. And for managing these third, there is the environment context, or where Python looks for all these packages. So this is all we need to run Python. What we install, so yeah, what we install when we hit like these install Python things in Windows or Mac, we're installing the interpreter, we're installing the third part, sorry, the standard libraries, and we installing the Python management, the package management, or the environment context also for handling the third party packages. Um, so don't put that much attention in the order here. One, two, three, four. That I just didn't want to use more bullet points, but the important it's not the order, because you may be wondering, then it's more important the environment context than the third party packages because these are optional. The answer is yes, but the way I explain it, it just made more sense having these standard libraries next to the third party packages, right? Because they are almost the same. So one of them comes already installed when you install the Python environment, sorry, the Python interpreter. Um, you have the environment context and everything. And the other ones, thanks to the package management, you can access them, right? So again, let me make a pause to see if you have any question. Just coming in. Okay, please, is it Rook? What do you mean with Rook? I am not familiar with Rook. I can Google it. Rook. Hmm. I'm not sure what you mean. Group designed. Please is it group? The infrastructure for inference start building. I found that a chip. It's a processor. I don't know. Llama. Oh, it's like no. Yeah, I don't know. Grook. It's it like a microchip or something like that because that's what I found. I'm sorry. Okay, let's continue. So the key concepts, I think I already spoiled this, but the interpreter produces the environment. The interpreter is actually what makes the Python file executable. The environment, it's the plus that takes the install packages so you can access it, returning to this environment context, right? So I also spoiled something else when I was giving the introduction, which is I mentioned installing things globally, right? When we install things globally, or what I mean with this is that you just put it in a folder in your computer, and then you try to access that folder via all your projects. Then we have the virtual between quotes because this makes you feel well not makes you feel this actually makes an isolated version or an isolated project of the things that you want to install for your project, these previous environment packages, right? So how to find the packages? It's probably very common for you that you import things in your Python scripts like this import request, for example. And how this works internally for Python is that Python searches for the built-in models, the site packages folder of your current environment, and it analyzes the system path, right? Let me hide myself from this slide so you can see it better. Um, okay, here, like, no, like this. Okay, I don't know which one works better, but okay, let's say like this. Import system, the print system executable, and system Python. Why don't we, to make this kind of more dynamical, move to the Visual Studio and try to run some of these scripts, and you will see what's the output and how Python interprets it or tries to uh, or what's happening behind the curtains, right? So let's open Visual Studio Code, Visual Studio, no, Visual Studio, no, Visual Studio Code. Uh, what's the one for Python from the JetBrains? I don't know. I don't use JetBrains, but hey, open your favorite text editor ADE, even open Colab if you want. I think that will be interesting if we open Colab and try to do something new. But I have to make a quick pause. I'll be back in just 2 minutes. So open your Visual Studio. Okay, great. I'm back. So let's open this for that. Um, I'm going to create a new file, which is I don't know, system.py, and let me make this bigger. Also, I need to correct that global language in AI, and it's going to be global language beginners. I forgot to move this. I'm so sorry. And this is understanding Python apps. Well, let's make this bigger so you can see it and appreciate it with me. Perfect. Well, a little less bigger. Okay. Now let's copy what we have here. Import syst and print syst executable and print sys path. Oh, executable, it's not executable actually. So again, I'm curious, right? What's your way of executing Python code? For example, when will this session be ending? And 1 hour approximately. So I'm curious. At the very top here is run Python file or a run button if you have the Python extensions installed. I think Python. Okay, a little slow load. But the way I do it, it's I open my CLI and make sure that Python it's installed. I have Python 3.13, which is the latest, and I then run Python system.py, and the output is this. Let me hide the extension to make sure. But also, again, if I run this, I get the same output. You see, the difference between these two is that c.sh it's my bash, my of my ownership, and this is the Python bash, which it's actually just the same, but this is managed by Python extension here, and this is managed by me. So again, it's up to you. I'm just curious of what you use. Do you get problems if you have multiple versions of Python installed in your system? Answer is yes. Yes. Thank you for the question because this is a huge problem. And I'm going to show you how I managed to have different versions. Actually, as an anecdote, in my work, I do JavaScript, but I was building a project that is I think it's what's the one for Ionic? Yeah, it's Ionic. I was building a project that used Ionic, and I was getting errors due to an MP, a Node package, which is for JavaScript, because I have this version of Python, the latest, and there was a need for the package when it was built to have a stable version of Python, which is the 3.9, I think. So it was silly, but it was really highlighting to me that having the different Python versions can ruin your life or your or your day if you don't know what's happening there. So yeah, great question. use the code runner extension. Is CLI better? No, it's up to preferences. Again, it's just curiosity. I was telling that because I prefer to use CLI like almost all the time. Uh, the visual aids, it's basically doing the same. Just you need to move the cursor and click, click, click instead of type, type, type. That's the main difference. Actually, talking about that, I want to invite you to another session I'll be doing. I think that's scheduled for Wednesday, where I'm going to teach you how to be friends with the CLI, right? Some of you may not be feel or not feel comfortable using the CLI and prefer, for example, these running with the extension or just running via an UI. But what the UI does, it's just what the CLI does, but with buttons instead of with comments or with clicks, sorry, with typing, and again with clicks. So I invite you to that session so I can give you more tools or more experience on the CLI. So let's continue with this to see what the output is. Go to Python system, and I'm going to print also this, just to make the separation, right? Uh, the executable file, it's you can find in opt homebrew opt python 3.13 bin python 3.13. What does this mean? Put attention to this route: opt homebrew opt. I use homebrew, which is how to explain it, a package management, not for Python, but for Mac. I am a Mac user, right? So if you, for example, again, come from Linux, you'll know and be familiar with package managements. Um, I cannot remember from Ubuntu if it was apt, but well, each distribution has its own package management. The distributions as the operating system has package management, right? Mac, it's Linux under the hood. It's a paid version of Linux, but it doesn't have one natively. So Homebrew, it's kind of the community's favorite one. So that's what Homebrew is. So I install Python via Homebrew. That's the one I have globally. Why I have a global version of Python? If you probably can say, Alberto, you told us that having global installations wasn't that good, right? Well, for some cases, they do are good. But I also have another thing, which is mini conda, and we're going to get about what conda is. But mini conda, it's the CLI version of conda, the full tool to help you manage your Python environments, where I install and I have very different versions of Python, right? So I'm going to active my conda environment to help you see the difference. And I did run this on purpose without activating any environment to let you see that I also have a Python version installed globally. The system path of this tell us that this is looking for packages inside the folder I'm currently at, inside Homebrew, frameworks, Python's versions, inside Homebrew, Sailor, Python frameworks, inside Homebrew, and inside Homebrew, right? This is looking for packages all across these folders, right? So now let me activate the Conda environment, which is Conda activate. And again, I didn't mention one environment or another, and this activated the base environment. Let's run this Python version again, and you will see this is a different version. This is not 3.13, this is 3.12. And if I run the script, you will see that this not longer comes from Homebrew. This now comes from Miniconda, Miniconda 3. So having the different interpreter in different places helps you also manage if you want one version of Python of another. And now, since this is another place where my Python lives, to say it somehow, we are also looking for the packages not installed general, well, not installed in Homebrew, but installed in Miniconda, 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 and Miniconda, right? And I want you to take a look to this other thing. Conda deactivate. Conda activate AI, which is an environment I have for specific AI purposes, where I have installed a specific Torch version, Torch Vision. I have installed a tool called Genesis, the SciPy, well, many others, right? And if I ask for the Python version in this is the 3.9, for me, one of the most stable ones. And if I run the script, you will see that this same, it's not on Homebrew, which is the global one, because it is a Miniconda. And in this, it's like looking for the packages as well, yeah, in Miniconda, but if you look for it in different libraries, sorry, in different folders, this is a 3.12 folder and this is a 3.9 folder, right? So I do have a global Python. I have specific Python environments, but these environments are managed by Conda, and I can access them not only in this project, but in many projects. So if you can think of this in how to say, like in having boxes where your computer is the whole box, you can have the whole box with Python and some other specific or more reduced boxes with many different versions of Python. And you can be more granular if you use things like BNB, because in there the whole configuration for your project, it is not going to be in an environment, well, yeah, in a environment, but that environment will not be living across the whole computer like these separated conda environments, but in your project specifically. And I will show you that. For that, I think it will be better we pass to the next slide to explain the different things here. Uh, BNB, virtual environment, Conda, poetry, and PyDev. And we are going to focus just in VAMP or BMV and Conda right now, right? Manages the Python version? No, it doesn't. Conda, it does. Manages the packages? Yes, they do. Handles non-Python devs? None of them do except for Conda. Do you really require this? Since you're beginners, don't worry for the moment. And I will show you, for example, if I'm here and I return to my Python scripts, right now I am in the Conda AI environment, right? If I do Conda list, you will see I have many packages, many of them. AO, Blaz. I don't even know the half of the name here, except for some of them that I do require. For example, NumPy and NumPy base, right? Why then you have like leaf-fi? Well, probably it's dependency of some of these other packages I wanted. So probably I'm just making this up. Matplotlib requires ICU. So when I install Matplotlib, it also install ICU, right? That's it. And you probably realized something else. I did not use pip list. I used conda list. Pip, it's the package manager that it's commonly used with Python. Is it the only one? No, it is not. But it's very, very likely that if you start learning Python, you will see pip and you will use pip. There are many others. Again, Conda does the work that pip does, but also you will see we start with zip, and here we have two more than zip, right? Here we start with upnope, and here we have aon. So what's the difference of these two lists? Why are not the same? Well, pip answers for the things that you have installed, not in the environment or not in the yeah, well, they both look in this configuration here, but Conda has a wider access to the things that you want for the packages, right? So that's it. Just stay with that or keep that in mind. Uh, you will have to choose which one you will prefer to use, and again, this is up to preferences because you can manage and you can have granular control of your packages, of your Python versions, or any of these with these tools. uh, Again, you prefer. As you can see, there's not only one solution because I used Conda for some things, BNB for some others, Beep for one things, and Beep, or what is the one, the name of the, well, I'll use another one, but depending of what I need, right, the requirements. And what I want to say is, don't worry, you will figure it out as the way you're learning, and some of these are up to preferences. Again, there is no in programming, there is no one big true against some others, right? There are many ways to do the things, and you will find your own way or your own path. Uh, well, yeah, the BMP basic. Let's close this and let's clear here. And I'll be turning off Conda deactivate. So I want to open this on the side to see what's happening. So I mentioned Python 3, but for me, this is pi minus m create. And for this, I don't like to hide the folder. That's again my preferences. But what's happening here is you telling Python create a minus a virtual environment using, sorry, the virtual environment, and we are going to call it this way. Again, I don't like to hide the folder. This is for hiding it or not. What's a hide folder? I would recommend you to also learn about Linux or system, well, UX system things. I think in Windows they do have also these ones. But for example, when you create a Git project, you will see the Git folder. It's hidden, right? It starts with this dot. Everything that starts with the dot, it's a hidden folder, so you won't see it on UI regularly in the file explorer unless you change the configuration for seeing them, of course. So I don't see a point in hiding this folder, so I don't. Uh, Pi instead of Python 3, because you will see that I have an alias. For example, here we see we notice a new environment has been created. You want to select it for the workspace folder. What this does is, if you prefer to do the extension instead of CLI, instead of manually selecting the currently environment you are on, you will need to change this to yes or press the yes. Else, you will be having the global configuration for your Python project, right? So, Shaurya 12, again, if you use the cold run extension, make sure to change the workspace folder, right? For me, it doesn't matter because I'm going to use the CLI. Inside the BNB, we'll have binary that has some scripts, some files, and you will see that this was created using the Python, the version of Python that I have at the moment. And since I log off from the AI environment to create this virtual environment, we're using the base configuration that I have. So let's do something that it's delete this, and let's conda activate the AI again, and let's say Python create the folder again, and you will see that this now it's for Python 3.9. Again, that's very important for us, at least, because BNB does not manage the Python version. That's why I have not full conda, but mini conda, right? A way where I can manage the Python version. Why not PyM? I prefer mini conda. That's again up to preferences, personal preferences. So we have our virtual environment. Now I'm going to deactivate the the Conda AI virtual environment that I used only for managing the Python version that I wanted. And now I am going to activate the virtual environment folder we created here for this specific project. Deactivate. And before activating it, I'm going to say Py version. Remember, right now, since we are not currently in this virtual environment active, I am under the general purpose or the general configuration. Now I am going to activate using source.bnb or the file to the activate file if you're in Linux or Mac. If you're in Windows, don't do the source, just bnb scripts activate, right? And I am going to say source bm active. And now you will see that I have, for example, here in my terminal, it's already customized, and I have these logs where I can see where I am step on, right? So I am in this folder and I am doing the conda environment, or I am not having any environment at all. Right here, I'm on a Python environment, which is a BNB. This is for conda. This is the VM environment. And right now, if I do the Python version again, you will see I have this Python. Again, I don't want to make this confused. We create the virtual environment using this script, pi minus m bam of virtual environment, and the name of the virtual environment. I tend to name them the same, bam, right now. That's it. You can call it whatever you want. For example, you can call it AI. Since this only lives in the project or in this folder, for me, it doesn't make sense to give them names. I give them names to these conda ones because the conda, I can use them whenever I activate it on my computer. They live in a lower, yeah, in a lower space of the computer. But why we activate that conda environment to create this other environment? That's silly, Alberto. Why you make that? It doesn't make sense. If you already activated that environment, why not using that environment? Well, I use this environment not because I want the things in the environment or in the whole box. For conda, let's call that a big box, as a container. And that contains not only packages, not only information about the system and the executable path, but contains and manages Python versions. So instead of doing these conda, we could use the pyenv just to change the version of Python we're using. Once we have the Python version we want, we can create the virtual environment, right? Now, again, we can use a combination of these two, pyenv and venv. I'm using a combination of conda and venv. And you may be wondering, because that's valid, why don't use just conda since they manage these two? Well, the answer for that is that when I want to do really specific things for a project, I create these virtual environments for the project. When I want to do things that, I don't know, for example, a data analysis, and I want to have the ability to access to the tool set that I use in all the data analysis that I do commonly, I use the data environment. So I have access to NumPy, to SciPy, to Matplotlib, to Seaborn, to do all of this, right? And I don't have to create new and new and new and new every time because I'm doing just the same. Yeah, so that's why, again, it's up to preferences, and you will find your path there. The only thing I wanted is that you can understand the differences and be aware of what you actually need to create these Python environments, right? I'm going to run the Python script here, and you will see that in this case, in the previous one, the executable was living in either Miniconda or either Homebrew. Here, the executable lives inside the project. So we're not in opt anymore. We are in a higher level. We are in the users, main user, and the folder or the part where I store this, which is developer, global hardware, global hardware beginner, Python apps, and I create the virtual environment path for this. So this is living, sorry, here, right? And also, this is not looking for the files or the, how to say it, packages just in this, in if I store it here, but it is looking for them also in the base mini conda config where I created the environment. So again, if I say conda list, this is tricky because this is giving us the list for the conda configuration again, but we are not in the conda environment. We are not in any conda environment. We're in the virtual environment that's called Python amps or BMB. Uh, so the real list we need to aim is for the pip one, right? And this is almost empty. You see, like actually we don't have anything. So it doesn't matter that if you ask for the conda list of the things you have available, here the real list that you have in your current environment, it's just pip and setup tools. If I want to say pip install matplotlib, well, blah 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 blah. Okay, you see this warning? You may have installed Python packages into your global environment, which can cause conflicts between package version. Would you like to create a virtual environment? This is because Visual Studio Code tell like, okay, you probably doing something wrong since you have many things installed. For you, that could make sense. In my case, again, I will hide it and I will install this on the environment. Matplotlib. Okay, maybe I am misspelling it, but let's do another one numpy. And well, hey, I see some comments. What hashtag can use to share MLH Global Hack Week on LinkedIn? Hashtag. Um, I don't know. Happy hacking. Um, I'm not sure. I will recommend you to look for other posts that's tagging the email hacking, and that will make sense. I don't use that much social media. I have to admit it. I use just LinkedIn. Like for staying up to date with the uh, gossip in tech. But yeah, I'm not sure about your question. Sorry. So when we return, and after this stops, well, we'll see, right? We're install something like request numpy matplotlib whatever you want, and another recommendation for sharing this, it's one called that's pip freeze. Pip freeze, it's that we take and you really could not find versions that satisfies your requirement. Okay. Okay, maybe I need to upgrade pip. Okay. What this does is that it takes the list we just shared and it places it in a file called requirements.txt. So stop writing your requirements.txt by hand. Plus, this gives you the specific version that you want, right? And finally, to quit, same as if I am doing the conda deactivate. In this case, we are not doing conda, just deactivate, because we're managing the virtual environment directly. And same, conda does this for you between quotes, right? So you can do it manually and you can do it with conda. Again, it's up to preferences, workflows, and whatever you want. Conda create, you will see here also we specified the Python version we want, activate and install, we're using Conda, Conda export to an environment, which is how we do the freeze previously, Conda deactivate, I already showed you this. I'm going to skip the poetry because we're kind of running out of time. Um, for the common pitfalls, I will make you sure that you're in the right environment. For me, again, it's kind of easy because I have these in a CLI. But if you don't have a visual way to make sure in which environment you are, make sure to plot this constantly, the executable, to make sure where you're looking for your files, your sys path, to make sure also that you can access the specific Python libraries where you are. For example, imagine that you're installing a Python library or a Python package in a place that you cannot access, and then you get frustrated because you try to run your script and it doesn't run because it tells you you need to install this, and you're like, why I just install it? That happens a lot. Don't worry. Just make sure to activate the correct Python environment. That's important. Um, Also, forget to pin the versions. Again, have the versions in the requirements txt. Here also, I don't have words to say you how many times I messed up with mixing pip and conda. So that's why, I mean, conda makes a lot of things easier, but at some point, conda gets kind of messy. I have to admit. That's why I use conda mainly for package management, sorry, for version management, and for having general environments that I know they have enough tools to work with many projects for specific projects, for specific things, for specific versions, for specifics. I always do just pip and the regular environments with virtual environments, right? Deleting the environment folder without updating the docs. That's another thing that you need to be cautious of. So troubleshooting which Python or where if you're in Windows, you see it. I did look for the versions a lot and the install packages available. And this is the only the other thing I show you. You may be using Conda and you maybe have a lot of things in Conda installed in your base, like in general, but that doesn't mean that you can access them in your project if you're not in the right, incorrect, in specific environment, right? So make sure to list your projects. Um, can the above you rightly demonstrated and thought be set up, built, and programmed with only mobile device? Uh, can the above you rightly demonstrated and thought be set up, built, and programmed with only mobile device? I'm I will say no. Yeah, no. The problem with mobile devices or even an iPad or something like that, I once tried to say like, hey, wait, I need a computer. Why I can't program directly in my cell phone, right, or in the mobile device. Right now, there are apps that allows you to code and execute and run and do all these things in mobile. But it's something like doing collab, right? Because what's happening there is that you're accessing an interface that under the hood it's managing all of these things that I'm teaching to you. And again, the intention of this, it's knowing that this exists. It's totally valid if you want to keep doing Google Colab, for example, or these apps that I think you're mentioning about programming or writing code in mobile. But what's happening there is that you're actually connecting to a computer, to a real computer. And why you can do that on a mobile device, it's because of the architecture. They don't manage the the architecture to run Python with the interpreter and the environments. But they do connect to a computer that does it. Same as Colab. You may be not doing that in your computer. You may be not doing that directly, like manually, like with these things we're doing. But you're, well, not you, but Colab or Google, it's doing it for you, so you cannot worry about them, right? How soon will the recording of this session be put? I'm definitely going to have to review this. I think it takes depending of the processing time of YouTube, but it should not take more than 20 minutes. So even if the recording is not ready, I think YouTube has this magic where you can save the link and watch it later, right? So, for example, Chugwu, it's watching this from YouTube. So that same link, I think that will be the recording. Again, you can find the recording in ghw.mlich.io slash. I cannot remember the slash, but hey, that redirects you to the mail hacking page, and there is the link. So let's continue. I think we kind of move forward for this. I give you this for homework because, again, we're almost run out of time, and I would like to focus more in than an activity uh, in in um, in a Q&A session. So I add some references for the content documentation, virtual environment, Python EMS. Actually, I want to check the content one. Oh, okay, it's taking its time to load, but in the meantime, why don't you do the activity? Um, let's explain this. Given a Python script, oh, I forgot to share the RIP. Um, you know what? Forget the activity because that's on me completely. I forgot to create a repo. Actually, I am going to be not punished, but I should share with this with the team in advance. So I'm sorry. Again, a lot of changes happening here in my life, but I want this to be the end of part one. On the next session, we're going to do a little bit more of the hands-on. I recommend you to come to that next part of the part two already with Python locally installed, Conda installed, and if you did like or have curiosity about other tools, install them and we can debug them together, right? So you can make sure that you find your perfect fit for your Python um, way, your Python, how to say it? Well, yeah, for your workflow. We will see and we will cover advanced usage, integration, and best practices. And I will walk you through a scenario where I do this in more comprehensive, how to say it? Yeah, in a real workflow, right? Right now, this was very mm, beginners again. Well, now just for mentioning some examples, but that's it, right? I would like to see if you have any question. I hope I am clear. I was clear giving the explanations. I do find this session interesting and important because there's a lot of things that we like just think they are settled, like we don't care about it, and I do think we need to start caring about these type of things if we want to move from beginners from yeah, from more juniors to more advanced levels, right? Because at some point you will face it. And why don't having the preparation or having even the idea of that in mind? Maybe you don't fully understand that. Maybe you don't fully get what I was trying to do because maybe I'm not the best teacher. But at least you have the idea now. At least you now know what a in general, again, to what a programming language needs to actually run, that it needs or a compiler or our interpreter. Some of them even require more things, that you need packages or extra code to help that, how you can manage that packages, how, for example, Python in this specific case does it. um, and for example, if you want to get that from zero in a new computer, you will do it more wisely, right? I see some questions here. Yeah, on the YouTube channel. Yeah, sure. MLH. When will the next session be? I think it's on Monday. Yeah, it's on Monday. Let me find the specific and I will share it with you. Give me a second. It's Monday, 21 to 23 at ET time, right? So it will be night for me. It depends on your time zone. I'm 2 hours in advance to ET time, so that will be 7 to 9 for me. And then 9 to 11, I'll be giving creating your first web page part 2. But for not confusing you, again, times are 9 to 11 ET time for the part 2 or of understanding Python environments. And for creating your first web page part 1, that will be from 11 to 1 hours because that will be the next day, right? So yeah, thank you so much for staying. I'm so sorry for the inconvenience at the start of the session. I will do my best to have them sort for the next session so we can start with more time. It was my pleasure. And before I forgot, because I always forgot to do this, please help me gather your feedback, which, if I'm not wrong, it's globalhackweek dot. No, it was feedback or something like that. I will look for that in a second. Don't go. In the meantime, you can post your questions here, and I will be really happy to solve them. Tu, tu, tu. Okay, give me a second. I'll share the feedback link. Oh my god, I almost forgot where it is. Okay, yeah, it's mlh.link slash global hack with feedback. So, oh, I removed the screen. Well, already this loads, but mlh.link slash global hack quick feedback. Here you will find the this form to help us provide feedback for the session. And well, that'll be it for this time. Thank you so much for staying here. Again, remember in the docs, there's this, if you look for conda.com or conda.org, Yeah, it's conda.org. You'll find these where you can find more information about the documentation of conda. Again, I don't have full conda because this includes a visual aid or a visual interface to manage this. I have the mini conda. There's also mini forge. We'll see the difference. Mini conda, it's an installer by conda that comes pre-configured for use with any Anaconda repository. Miniforge, it's an installer maintained by the Conda Forge community that comes pre-configured for using the Conda Forge channel. What is the Conda Forge? Where you can download some of the packages that were specifically forged for Conda. Um, some other projects, the Conda provides all the session comments for creating and using environments. Again, I use just mini Conda. And well, again, uh, don't forget to share your thoughts. Thank you so much. And that will be it for the session. I'll hope to see you on Monday. Have a great weekend. I won't be giving sessions this weekend, but there are a lot of upcoming sessions that are just great. And after this session is done, I really, really recommend to join Jocelyn for Wikipedia Raises Me event. That will be on Discord. And after that, there's UT and on music on the web, part one, right? So see you. Bye. Sorry, I didn't realize this, but I find it funny. How old are you? I'm 25 years old. Why? Because people always tell me I look older, which I don't know if it's sad or good. I just find it funny. Well, thank you so much. And now, bye.